So our next guest is no stranger to the show. She is Vanessa Miller, and she has her book behind her, but I also have a copy of the book. And I have my own copy. I haven't read it yet because I have a stack of to be read books you wouldn't believe, but it's in there. It's going to be read soon. So, Vanessa, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. You guys have always been just very good to me, and I just really am thankful for that.
Well, we appreciate you being on the show, coming back. I know I've been seeing you all over the place with this
Yeah,
new book.
yes. And you've been getting some good pub. You've
Yes.
been making some lists. Tell us about some of those lists you made, best historical fiction, or different
Um,
ones I've seen it.
yeah, it's really been amazing. You know, this is the first time that I've written a book and we've gotten so much recognition for it, but it's because this is based on a true story. This is the only queen that has ever been on American soil. And if I may say myself, I believe that this is the best book I have ever written. I put my whole heart into writing The American Queen because I just really fell in love with the story of Queen Luella. But so we did we weren't on GMA, but we made a list for GMA, which was the 15 books to read in the new year. And I was really happy about that. And they even said Zibby Owens was the one who did the list. And she said, this story needs to be told and retold. And I was like, yes, because that is what I'm saying. That is what I believe about this story. The American Queen, it is a little known story. And that's why I'm out so much because I want people to get to know this story because it really happened right here in America. We were on several other lists. You caught me off guard. If I have to
Um,
name them all,
no,
I'm gonna have
I
to.
just, you don't have to name them all. I just wanted people to know the kind of exposure you're getting.
Yes, it's been amazing. It really has, and I'm thankful. I've been, my vision board. Well, I call it my prayer board. I've been putting things on there that I knew that I wanted. I feel like I'm on the second half of my career, and I believe God is just gonna keep showing up and showing out, and that's what we're gonna do. That's
Now,
what.
I know you put it on your vision board, but it just sounds like you were very intentional about the way you wanted to promote this book. So, did you kind of make a list of the lists and clubs and so forth that you wanted to target when you got ready to promote the book?
Well, and here's the thing: I have to be quite transparent on this. My publicist at Thomas Nelson, she targeted all of these. Now we made an essence list, and I think that was the only one that I kind of helped with because I I'm I'm working kind of behind the scenes on a new movie that's coming out this year now. It'll be out in August, and it's well, they've already started showing some of the flyers. So it's called The Forge, and it's a Christian movie with the Kendrick brothers. And so we went down to Albany, Georgia, and they had invited in all the media and everything. So I'm sitting at breakfast with Lynette, and Lynette she does these lists for Essence, for Reader's Digest, and all of that. And so I was like, here. I didn't have the book then, but I had the cards with me. And I was like, I want you to know about the American Queen. So then I went back, I emailed my publicist. I was like, send her a book. And she put it on the essence list. But the rest, Margaret and Taylor at Thomas Nelson, they have been fabulous with this book. We were all intentional. Nikisha, who is the marketing the vice president of marketing at Thomas Nelson, we all sat down and we talked about some of the things we wanted for the book, and they went out and got it. I wrote the book. I just showed up for the rest. And I, of
Right.
course, I worked on planning my tour, and people have been, so I'm coming back in where I had been missing in action for several years. I don't know if people know it, but like when my mom passed, I had to take care of my brother. My brother has mental retardation. They call it something else now, and I never remember the title. And then at that time, my niece was 15 and my mother had custody of her. So I told my mom, I said, I got you. I got you. Don't worry. I'm going to take care of them. So I didn't work on any more traditional deals at that time because I knew I couldn't travel. And so I had started I went back to indie publishing. And so
Mm.
I'm a writer. So a writer writes. And so I just kept publishing my books independently, but I wasn't showing up at bookstores. I wasn't showing up at, different events. I was staying at home. And so when I decided to come back to traditional publishing, I knew I was going to have to get back out there.
Right.
And, and like the first time I tried, it was with What We Found in Hallelujah. And one of my events, we had about 4 people showed up, and I was just like, "Bless the Lord, let's get it going." But you know what? I am so thankful that people are finding out about my events and they are showing up. And I'm like, okay, Lord, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because, I think authors get discouraged.
Yeah.
Uh, when things don't turn out the way, oh, you don't have this. You see other authors with this big room full of people who come out, but you don't know how long that author was building that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
You have to get in there and start building your own. And you got to be grateful for the 4. You got to be grateful for the 20. You got to be grateful for the 50, and then be grateful for the 100, and the hundreds. Once but you have to build that. And so I've just always been grateful for anyone who shows up, because I know they could have been doing anything else. They could
Yeah.
have just
What if
decided
you
to.
just ignored those 2 people who showed up for you? And because you're mad because 200 people didn't show up, but those 2 people came and showed you love, but you're so mad you're not showing them love back.
That's right. You know who taught me that early on? It was Eric Jerome Dickey. We were doing an event. This was a long time ago. We were doing a cruise, and I was new, just getting started. And I forget what the conversation was at the beginning, but he told me, he said, I don't care if it's 3 people in the room, you treat those 3 people like it's 300. And he said, because you don't know who those 3 people are, and you don't know what's going to happen after that event, because you never know what one of those people may be able to do for your career if you just decide to treat all people like they are special, like they are important to you. And so that's how I've always tried to treat my career.
And that's the way it should be. I think we a lot of times we get caught up in the numbers, and there's a Facebook post, or excuse me, an Instagram post, I believe it is, that's been going around trying to put things into perspective. When they say your post only got 30 likes, but if 30 people came up to you and told you that they really liked your product or they really loved your service, you would feel blessed. But only
That's
because
right.
you got 30 likes on Facebook, you don't think it's good enough.
That's right. And what people don't understand is that's just the people who bother to click it, but more people
Yeah.
have seen it.
Yeah.
And in with products, they say it takes a person about 7 times to see something before they make a a buying decision, if they're not already your customer. And
Yeah.
so just be
Hmm.
happy that people are seeing it, because you don't know when the next time they see it. Let's say they see it online, they don't bother to click it. Then a friend says something to them about it. Then they walk into a bookstore and they see
And
it
they see
again,
it.
and
Hmm.
they say, "Oh, I'm gonna get this book. I keep seeing it everywhere."
Yeah, that's what something that I tell new authors about. It's about consistency and repetition.
Yes.
Because what you were saying about the seven, I think it might be more than that now, just because we are exposed to so much information, there's so many images on a regular basis. It
Yeah,
might
you're
take
right.
more than seven, but at least seven.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, Rome wasn't built in a day. That's what people I tell people will ask me, and let me say this on the show, you're going to be a featured author at this year's book festival. So that'll be great. I'm trying to remember, when did I see you last in person? It's been a
I
while.
It's been a long
It's been a
time.
long
It's
time.
been a long time, and I thank you so much for inviting me to be a featured author at your event. I'm excited. I'm like, yeah, my husband is real excited. Let me tell you what I was.
Okay.
I don't even remember. I don't remember what city I was in, but I was touring. So I just happened to open up my phone and I saw your message. Well, he's been wanting to go to Houston because his son lives there and he
Oh,
wanted to
okay.
come and visit his son. And when
Yeah.
I looked at your message, I handed the phone to him and I said, "We're going to Houston, honey."
Oh.
He was like, "What, for real?"
Well, that's great. Well, I wanted to make sure that we got you, because this book is really making its rounds. And all of your books have, but this book really has taken
This book is
your
special.
This is going to
publishing
be a
to a
define. I believe this is going to be a defining moment for you, because
yeah,
I'm going to tell you, because I've known you for a very long
yeah,
time, and this is the most excited I've seen you over one of your books. I mean, you've been excited about your other books, but this is the
Right.
most excited that I've seen you. And like I said, the book is everywhere right now. We're
yeah.
seeing so many people talking about it, and I think this is going to be a defining moment for you. So I wish you all the best with this.
Thank you so much. It is amazing when it is those stories that you didn't even I knew nothing about this story. It was Lisa Wingate, another author, telling me about, you know, someone went on her Facebook page and told her about this story about the kingdom of the Happy Land people. And if I had not, when I first came back into traditional publishing, I needed some good endorsements, and
Mhm.
I loved her work, and so I contacted her, and I said, you know, I told her, I said, I'm just coming back in, I really, need some endorsements, and she said, I understand. She said, you need a hand up. She said, I've been there. Send me the book. And so I went after she gave me the endorsement for something good. And when I went back to say thank you, I had been reading one of her other books and I told her I was enjoying it. And that's when she said, a Facebook friend told me, because all of her stories are based on real events that happened. And she said, a
Mhm.
Facebook friend told me about that particular event. And then she wrote the book. And she said, here's something else a Facebook friend told me about the kingdom of the Happy Land people. She said, you live in North Carolina. You might want to research this. And I went and I started researching it and I couldn't believe it. And I went back to her. I was like, no, wait. You're giving this to me. I can go ahead and write this. You're okay with that. And she was like, yes, Vanessa, I think you're the perfect person to write this story. And I, look, I told her, I said, I am forever in your debt. And as much as I bug her, I'm like, okay, now, what else should I do? Look, she's a number one best-selling New York Times author. She know what to do. So
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. Is that okay? And she's like, yeah, yeah.
I love
Okay,
it.
so tell us about the story. That's the
Well, Well,
skeleton of the story, The American Queen.
the story is about um, William Montgomery and Luella Bobo Montgomery. Uh, they were on a plantation in Mississippi. After emancipation, they decide to leave the plantation because William believes that God has a promised land for them. And Luella is saying, I'm not staying on this plantation. We have to go. And so they set out, and William was the reverend on this plantation. He and his brother were the sons of the plantation owner. And so they set out on this journey. They go through Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina to finally get to their promised land in the Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina. So
Okay.
they set up, but the land is full of trees when they arrive. They have to knock down all of these trees. They buy this land, they knock down all of these trees and build homes. They build a church on there. They have a school. They have this whole community, and they call it the Kingdom of the Happy Land. And so William decides he's going to be king in the Happy Land, and he makes Luella his queen. They even have thrones where the people come to them, you know, weekly for advice and things like that and counsel, and they sit on their thrones and receive them. So finding out about this story, if you Google it, it comes up. But the
Okay.
story has only been told locally because their land was about 20 miles outside of Hendersonville. And I had the pleasure of going and walking on the land. And if you see the interview that Essence did about the Kingdom of the Happy Land people, the picture that they have of me on that interview, I'm standing on the land of the Kingdom of the Happy Land. It is
But
now,
that
of course,
but that hit
Oh,
on.
totally different, didn't it? What standing on that land.
It was, oh my God. I can't even I'm a writer and I cannot describe the feeling. It was so emotional for me just to stand there because I'm like, I wrote about this, and I'm looking out and I'm seeing all this land that they own about 200 acres of land. And so I'm
okay.
looking and I'm
Wow.
seeing all this land before me, and then I'm seeing the trees that I wrote about that they had to knock down so many of them. And I knew that there were other trees still left on the land, but they knocked down so many. And so I can see how beautiful, and the trees are beautiful when and if you see the picture, the trees are behind me. You'll see what I mean. It was
Mm.
They were beautiful to me.
Yeah, I've been to that part of North Carolina. That's the
Okay.
west part and where Tennessee and North Carolina meet. And this mountain is very beautiful.
Mountains,
Very beautiful. Is
mountains.
it anywhere near Asheville?
Yes, it's
Okay.
about an hour away from Asheville, and I was
Okay.
supposed to do a book event at Monoprops in Asheville because I'm actually uh here's the thing. When the kingdom lasted for about 30 years, when
Okay.
it broke up, the people who once lived on the kingdom and their descendants moved to places like Asheville, Greensville, Spartanburg, and Hendersonville because those were close around where the kingdom was. So I purposely scheduled events in those cities. And
Okay.
when it was time for me to go to my house, my brother ends up in the hospital. So, and Hendersonville. So I had to cancel Hendersonville. That's been rescheduled for March. But Malaprops we did as a Zoom. And so I was still able to do the event with them, but we did it as a Zoom. So I was very thankful that they let me do that. But I still wanted to visit all of the areas. So I get to visit everyone but Asheville. I was just in Greensville at M. Judson, and they really showed me some hospitality over there. I love
Hmm.
that place. It was really nice.
So do
Wow.
you have the book now? Are you going to be doing more historical fiction?
I just wrote another one. It is titled The Filling Station. And so my editor is sending back the edits. She said tomorrow or by the end of this week. And so I still got a lot of work to do on this book to make it, because I really feel like American Queen was something special. So if I'm going to put out another one, I'm getting ready to, really work on this one, even though I finished it, but I basically just finished it. I'm still working on it.
Oh, okay, but now I asked Rashonda the same thing a little earlier, but what do you see is the biggest difference between the books that you have normally been writing and this historic fiction?
Oh my goodness, there's a lot that's different. For one, there is a lot more research because of course, I didn't live over 100 years ago, so I need to research the
You look
time
good,
period.
girl.
I need to research the time period, but there's also the language is different.
Mm-hmm.
I had to become best friends with this dictionary source that tells me the first time a word was used in the United States, or wherever, but I'm looking for the United States. So I had to pull out so many words that was in my document because the first time that word was heard was
Okay.
1920. And
Okay.
in this
Mm-hmm.
book is 1865 to 1889. And I'm so thankful. Vanessa Riley told me about that dictionary source. She uses
Okay.
that. And then Chandra also told me about another one. So I use both of those sources to kind of go in and scrub my documents. So then you also have to understand that in our contemporary world, there's a lot of conveniences that we have that are not available in history. And so you can't just readily put something in your story that you would, in a contemporary novel. So you have to be um, a lot more careful in your writing, so that you make sure that it comes across authentic. And so far, I
Okay.
haven't had anyone yet tell me, and I saw some some reviews on other historicals where people who read historicals or they're historians would
Mm.
come in and complain because they would be like, well, that wasn't there during that time. And so that made me nervous. And
Okay.
so I tried my best. I tried my best. And so far I haven't seen anyone come in with a complaint like that,
You
because
have to be careful when you're writing historical fiction because history buffs will be reading your story and they will
mm-hmm,
it's not right.
yes. And
Yeah, and
so
some historians, some historians believe that it's not pure history because it's fiction. They don't like the fictionalized part of it. And
right,
so, but they're prudes,
right. Yeah,
nobody
I'm not
can
writing a
really, we didn't
history
have
book.
recording devices and things like that. So there will be no way for us to know what people were thinking and saying unless they wrote letters or had a diary or a
Correct,
journal. So you have to
correct,
take some liberties.
correct.
And a fictionalized account is easier to read.
Correct. That's why I say I don't write nonfiction. I write fiction. So if I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna tell the story, I'm gonna tell it in a story manner because that's what I love. My favorite books in the Bible are the Old Testament because they read like a story.
Yeah.
I could sit there and read that, and it's like I'm going, "Ooh, what happened?"
It
Just like a novel. It reads
is
like,
some stuff in there that's really like scandalous.
yeah. I
If
mean, it reads
you
like a
read it.
story, but that's because God is gonna be God no matter how much of a fool His people act, and so He he ain't never scared to let you know. Look at these people because
Yeah,
because
and
he
also to remind us that there's nothing new under the sun, really.
nothing new.
The stuff that
Absolutely.
the thing that makes things different in different times is the technology. The the development of equipment and gadgets and things like that. But human nature is still human nature.
Yeah. Yes.
Amen. Now we do have a couple of comments. Myra
Okay.
said she read a piece on the American Queen for a Black History segment at her church last Sunday.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
And Angela Anderson said that the American Queen is so good. Congratulations that it is available in all three formats, including hardcover.
And I'll pay you later for that, Angela.
Now, Lydia wanted to know what the name of the dictionary was that you mentioned.
Ooh, okay. I'll go grab it real quick.
Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about.
Hold on. I always forget the name of it, but okay, it's the dictionary by hold on, I'm gonna put it in the
Okay, if you're gonna put it in the chat, then I'll copy and paste.
uh-huh. Okay, where's the chat?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, just put it in the comments.
No, she or if you want to put it in the comments on Facebook.
Put it in the comments on Facebook.
Yeah, let me
and
do
that way
that.
people have access to it.
Well, I was going to copy and paste it either way.
You were okay. Now I get it. You did say that. I didn't.
Okay, really. Hold on. I'm gonna put it in. Is there another question? Because I'll put that
yeah,
over
while
there.
You're doing that, let me see what else is going on here. People liking you. Talk about hey and hi. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah, there's some people. I don't know if these are people you know or not, or just people who are your readers, but they seem like they know you by the way they're saying
okay.
hey. they may just be saying hello.
Okay, so I just put it in the in the comments.
Okay.
Put it in the comments. Okay.
Okay. Well, great. That's something that I may have to consider in the future, but I don't think I'm going to do historical fiction. When I do fiction, I say I actually like writing nonfiction, but when I do fiction, I like it to be in the now. I like
I never thought I would write a historical. And I would always tell Vanessa Riley, I don't know how you do all of that. It's too much.
She's on another level.
But you let the right story hit you.
Yes, that's true.
This story, I mean, it was just, I felt like I had to write it. And so I just fell in love with it. And the same thing with the next story. I was like, oh, okay, I see this. And so I've got a few more ideas. So yeah, I guess I'm over here.
Well, the fact that it was in North Carolina is almost like it was ordained. That's where you are.
Well, remind us how we can find you. I did put the link to your book in the chat for anybody who wants to purchase the book, but tell us how we can find you if we'd like to reach out.
I am at VanessaMiller.com. That's my website. You can also follow me on Instagram at author Vanessa Miller. I'm on Facebook as Vanessa Miller Pierce, Pierce. There's also an author Vanessa Miller Facebook page, and I have a reader group Facebook page as well. So pick one of those.
You're everywhere, basically.
Okay, well, we'll see you. We can't wait to see you in October at the National Black Book Festival.
I'll be there. And like I say, you made my husband really happy.
Okay. Well, I think it's great that this book is getting the recognition it is. And kudos to you. And it's so amazing that you and Rashonda both released your books the same day.
I know, two queen books.
Yeah. And two historical fictions that were the first for both of
you. Yes.
So
it's exciting. It really is. And I'm sure, and I know she's excited. I'm sure she's tired because she's doing just as she might be doing more traveling than me because because since they were in North Carolina, I get to do a lot of North Carolina and South Carolina.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
they own land that span from one part of North Carolina to South Carolina. And so
Okay.
I'm definitely doing the areas of North Carolina and South Carolina, but I'm also going to be in Alabama at the beginning of March. I'm going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma in March. I'm going to be, yeah, quite a
Everywhere.
few
Well,
places. Yes.
congratulations.
And I'm going to be in Charleston, South Carolina this weekend. So if any of you guys live in Charleston, come hang out with me at Dart Library. And then I'm going to be at Turning Page Bookshop in
Okay.
Goose Creek, South Carolina.
Okay.
It's on my
Yeah.
website.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll
She's
be
been on the
everywhere.
show.
So congratulations on everything.
Thank
Make,
you.
we'll make sure to be following you so we can find out all the places where you're going to be over the next couple of months. And
Thank
God
you.
bless you on everything that you're doing for the rest of this year.
Thank you so much. Bye
All right.
bye.
Take care.
Okay. Good night. We'll see you in October.
Yes. Bye bye.